Hey guys, the video I'm about to show you comes from about a year ago. We're talking June 3rd, 2024. Before I had this studio, before I had this myofascial release practice, I went and visited my now mentor, Edu Gomez, in Brazil, in Florianopolis. And this video is my breakdown of, I believe I was around day 4 out of 5 or 6 days. And this is my breakdown of one of my very big releases that I had while I was there. Check it out. Today was a very big day for me. I'm currently in on an island in Brazil in the south. And there's a very special healer here that I got recommended by some friends. And this guy will work on your body for 2 to 3 hours, doing like a very deep massage where he's essentially tracing like your meridian points and really removing and opening, not necessarily removing, but opening the fascia in the body and allowing the body to breathe again. Essentially, that's how I would describe it. So I have had a lot of foot pain. I've had it for like 5 years. When I used to work as a nurse, I'd wear Birkenstocks just so I could get through the day. And essentially, what the body will do is the body will have an emotional event, usually when we're younger. If that emotion is not expressed, it becomes repressed, suppressed, and it stays in the body. And it will stay within a certain part of the body, in the muscle tissue, in an organ, and it'll just sit there and it'll fester. And so, what actually ended up happening for me today was we had a massive emotional release with my heart. And it's interesting for me because I'm still trying to understand everything with how the body works, but my feet were actually not the real problem. The real problem was coming from my heart and my diaphragm. When I was younger, I had a couple of events that happened that shocked my nervous system. One of them being my dog when I was about 10 died. And his name was Riley. He was a golden retriever. And what was really interesting today doing the body work, the the body worker was on my heart, and he just asked, we hadn't talked about anything before. He just asked, did you used to have a big dog that you loved? I'm like, yeah. He's like, was it around the same time that the event with your parents happened? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, he died, right? I'm like, yep. And right when he said that, I had this huge emotional release and my heart opened, like, completely. I felt my heart open before, but this was not with any substances or breath work or anything like that. It was just tons of emotion coming out of my body. And on top of that, we worked through some trauma I had related to my parents, which I've been doing tons of work on that for the past 2 years. But there's always another layer. And the interesting thing about working with this guy is my diaphragm, where I breathe, which is actually connected to the kidneys. The nerves innervate into the kidneys. It was very blocked and not completely open. So what ended up happening for me my whole life, when I was younger, I had this stressful event. My kidneys secreted all this cortisol, and I went into fight or flight, and I stayed there. So my diaphragm ended up getting into a place where it would just stay there. So for the rest of my life, when I played sports, um, and in day to day, I was not breathing as much and as well as I could have been. So, as hard as I worked in sports, I was performing at maybe 50% of my capacity because my aerobic capacity related to my diaphragm was way lower than all the other athletes. So, it's really interesting when we begin to look at what happened in our life and in the events that occurred and how those events and those emotions related to those events might be trapped in our bodies. And there are many ways to start beginning your process. The reason I'm filming this video is one, to share with you the incredible, just the absolute incredible nature of the human body. It is so spectacular. It's beautiful. It is a piece of art. And two, I want to encourage you, if you're already on the journey, keep going. If you haven't started yet, start now. The journey to understanding why you are the way you are, the journey to understanding yourself. And a lot of this comes from doing the work that your parents didn't do. Or your parents gave you specific wounds. They brought you into this world so they could work on theirs. And they gave you what you have, all the pain you have, all the suffering. They also gave you the good things. But mostly they gave you the pain and the suffering that you have today so that you can transmute it and you can become more powerful. And that's a really big shift that you need to make if you want to have a really epic life, is the realization that none of the things that happened to you, you weren't a victim, they happened for you, right? So when we can make that shift and realize that where we are now, although we may not be where we want to be in the future, where we are now is the right place. And you just take one step at a time. So for me, for 20 years, since the death of my dog, I had been walking around with a closed heart. And it took me the past 6 years to open it back up. But if I didn't go on this journey, I wouldn't be able to be in the place I am now. And I have to thank my parents for that. And I have to thank all the events that happened, because we cannot really understand what God is doing for us. We can't really understand it. Every time something big happens in my life and it's painful and it causes a lot of turmoil and stress, now I'm in the mindset of like, just wait, Logan. Just wait. Let's see how this unfolds. And ultimately, the only thing you can really do in order to transmute the pain you're in now is to sit in the tension of it and to keep waking up and getting out of bed every day. And by that I mean physically, but I also mean spiritually. It's waking up and getting out of bed for yourself and going and doing the things that you want to do and challenging yourself to be a better person. If I didn't have this yearning to be a bigger, better, stronger person, like deeply in my soul, I'd still be working as a nurse, working a 9 to 5 that I hated. And maybe I wouldn't hate it. Maybe I'd just be like content with my life, and that's okay. That's okay if for anyone who's on that path. But this video is for the people who feel there's something bigger, something much bigger inside yourself. I'm telling you, I feel like I am going to grow an inch or two after this experience, because my body has been stifled for over 20 years. When I was 10 years old, my dog died. It blocked my heart. At 12, my parents divorced. My diaphragm got blocked from that. And ever since then, I've been trying to lift weights, eat a bunch of food. I've done all the things, but I haven't been able to get bigger. And it's because spiritually I got bigger, but physically, my body didn't have the capacity to allow myself to get bigger, because it was stifled. It was constricted. It had too much pain inside of it. So I've done a ton of work. I've done 21 ayahuasca ceremonies. I've done bufo. I've done tons of breath work. I've done the ice baths. I've gone to multiple retreats, done men's work, gone through all different types of programs, tons of coaching programs, tons of business programs, tons of spiritual work, Reiki, massage, acupuncture, detox, all types of things, right? And it doesn't matter where you start. All of these things work. Like yoga works, Pilates works, whatever gets you moving, right? Doesn't matter where you start, but start at the place that brings you the most excitement. And if you start there, it's going to be easier to show up for yourself. I was only showing up for myself really in the beginning. I've always had a yearning to be better, but I was really only showing up for myself in the beginning because I was in so much pain when I had eczema and I was super sick. It was just like I didn't have another option. And I think for a lot of people, you don't have to wait that long. You don't have to wait until you're really sick. You can start now. And really, the point of this video is to remind you guys that life is meant to be fucking awesome. It's meant to be really cool. There's a yin and a yang to everything. There's a balance, right? And if you've experienced a lot of darkness, that just means that the light that you're going to experience is going to be that much better. It's going to be way brighter. It's going to be way more fun. It's going to be way more cool. But you have to go into the darkness. When there's a storm and there's a bunch of animals around, a hurricane, the only animal that goes directly into the hurricane is a buffalo. The buffalo just runs straight into the eye of the hurricane. They all run together. And the thing is, they run directly into the darkness. They don't know what's going to happen. But the interesting thing is they get through it the quickest. So they come out of the other side unscathed. And all the other animals are trying to fly away or run away. And then at a certain point, they realize that they have to turn around and go directly into it. So there are many people who are waiting to do the spiritual work, who are waiting to do the physical work, waiting to do whatever it is you know you need to do in order to make your life better. People are waiting for the storm to come to them. Don't do that. Don't do that. The storm will eat you alive, and it might not spit you back up. I had a coworker, he got eaten alive, and he self-deleted. So you want to be the person who makes the choice to go into the storm. And with that, life becomes very beautiful. So, man, it is it is a very interesting life indeed. I have not realized how much pain my body has been carrying before doing this work. Like, the more conscious I've become, the more I've started connecting to my body. And I think it's interesting. When I was younger, stretching, all of these things, it was something I ran away from because it was so painful for me, but I didn't know why, and I didn't know how important it was. And then as I got older, I I started to expand my consciousness level, and my body started to hurt more because my consciousness expanded, but it gets to a certain point where the spirit can only stay in a smaller body so long. So I got to a point where I had to start doing body work on myself in order to feel just okay. There would just be so much pain in my body. And most of us are walking around with 90% of the population has messed up livers just from how society is today. A lot of people are walking around with unprocessed grief and trauma. And there's just so much in the human condition that most people, if you look at their body, you can see the exact like cause of why they're standing a certain way. Like the guy that I'm seeing now, and I walked in, he could just look me up and down, and he could probably, I believe he pinpointed immediately what my main issue was, which was the diaphragm and the heart. But in order to get there, we had to work through the feet and everything. So really cool. Life is a big onion that we get to unpeel. And as long as you keep showing up for yourself, it will get better and better and better and better. And it will get to a point where you're sitting on a beach filming yourself talking with these cool sunglasses. It's just like, oh, nice. This is my life now. This is my life. Yeah. Feels good to be alive. Well, with that, if you guys want to go deeper, I think a really good place to start doing some type of body work on yourself. So yoga, Pilates. I mean, you can go into the gym and all that. That's stuff that most people do. But a lot of gym work is going up and down, and it's very monotonous, repetitive activities. When I say body work, I mean putting your hands on your body and releasing stuff. Like learning more about your organs, learning more about your muscles. I'm going to end up putting out a lot of content about this topic because in order for us to be able to actually process our emotions properly, we need to understand our body more. We cannot rely on people our whole life. Like I'm going and seeing this guy from a place of power, not from please save me, right? And that's only because I've done a bunch of work on my body before, and when the student is ready, the master arrives. So I've only found this guy because I got my body to a place in a level of consciousness where I can receive from this guy and I can release. So start doing some kind of body work, whatever that is to you, and walking more as well. Our ancestors walked. We come from, if you believe in evolution, we come from monkeys who walked. Everything that we've come from walked, right? And we've lost so much of that. I did not ever enjoy walking because my feet and my back hurt so much. But now I'm beginning and learning to walk again. And I think the more we can walk, the more we can connect. And when I say walk, I don't mean with shoes. Take your shoes off, walk on the beach, walk on grass, walk on dirt, walk in the forest. When we can walk more, we can reconnect with ourselves more deeply. And also you have grounding in effect. Grounding is the earth's surface essentially has a magnetic pull and it centers the energy within yourself. But walking more is really important. It's like the best thing you can do for your body to just walk. And obviously if you have a bunch of pain and stuff, getting work done on yourself. When I first started getting massages on myself, it's probably like 14, 15. I was playing sports all the time. Just to have the guy who was massaging me, and by the way, guys usually have stronger hands. So before you guys call me names, I chose the guy because he had strong hands and he could work on my muscles better. But the guy working on me, I could not even ask him to to put more pressure or to decrease the pressure on the other leg because I was so in my head and I was so worried what other people would think. And now I can go and get body work done from tons of people all the time, and it's just my new norm of like, yeah, I'm going to have people touching me and giving me their energy, and I'm going to receive it and allow it to help me with my process and my journey. There's a lot of people with a lot of trauma, they can't even like really have massage therapists or anything touch them. And if you're a man or a woman with trauma, it's really important to have a really nice like therapist who can just provide touch where you feel safe. Just the touch alone from another human being, especially if you're single right now and you might be a little bit lonely, really, really important to have people touching you in a contained setting where there's no um, negative intention. It's just there to help support you on your journey. And the more you can allow other people to help you, the more that you can level up yourself. But back to a couple things to help yourself. Start doing body work on yourself, walking, and then in terms of understanding your mind, which is really important in the way you behave, the personality reports I'll have the link below. They help understand more about your patterns related to childhood. So we use a couple of factors. We also integrate Enneagram in the test, and Enneagram allows you to understand childhood patterns. But we have even more depth related to the Enneagram. So I can see strengths, I can see weaknesses. We'll call rooms for improvement. Um, I can see childhood patterns. I can see specific traits that are underdeveloped or overdeveloped. I can see your core archetypes for how you best show up in the world and also your superpowers. So the cool thing about this test, most tests, they have about 4 different standards of understanding the person. We have, I believe, 72 or 76. So we can get a very, very in-depth view of you. And what I'm learning when I was talking to this therapist today, he's saying the most important thing, and I've known this deep in my heart, is each person getting a personalized experience. So with a lot of the other tests and a lot of other therapies, some people give cookie cutter advice so that they can sell more. Well, that takes away a lot for you because if it's not personalized, then it's not really aligned with natural law. We're all very unique. And of course we have commonalities and common patterns, but being able to find people who can provide you personalized results based off of you, understanding yourself based off of your personal uniqueness and how you work is really, really important. Because if you get advice on a test that tells you about all the same things, where a million people might have the same result as you, well, there's a million people who are getting the same feedback. And in reality, the feedback that's helped me the most is the one that's personalized based off of my own characteristics and my trauma from childhood as well, and my strengths. So, highly recommend clicking the link below related to the logos test. We have the test, and we also have a call with me. So if you want to work with me, and get a little bit of coaching done, we do an hour and a half call, and we'll go deep into what makes you you, what makes you unique, and put you on your path. So much love, guys. Thanks for watching. Later.